Statement. Obviously, we're happy to be 3-0. I thought that the guys gave good effort tonight. I thought that the fans were into the game, so I applaud them for that. I thought that the crowd was bigger tonight, so I think at the end of the day, we're building a little bit, but we've got a long ways to go in that regard. And probably the most important takeaway from the game is we need to learn how to finish. We need to learn how to finish people off when you get up 18 points and play winning basketball. As we get away from playing winning basketball, and then we put ourselves in a bind a little bit.
The guys said you came in and you put 16-2 up on the board.
Yeah, I mean, we gave up a 16-2 run. We're up 18 points and we gave up a 16-2 run. I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to do that. Now, with that being said, I allowed them to kind of sit in it a little bit because I want them to figure things out. I can't call timeouts and always right the ship. Like, we've got to figure out a way to get enough internal leadership to right the ship when things go bad, right? And every team in America needs that, but we certainly need that. So I did allow them to probably, hang themselves a little bit, if you will. It's probably a bad term to use, but I allowed them to kind of figure it out on their own.
Is that, you don't want it to happen, but is that going to be good experience for this group to look back?
Yeah, we need all the experience we can get, right? I mean, we've played 3 games in the friendly confines of our arena. We're about to go on the road, and we're about to play good competition. So we need every bit of experience and every bit of I don't know. We need every bit of chaos. We need every bit of getting behind. We need every bit of getting ahead and losing it and having to right the ship and get back. We need all of that because we've got so many new guys, right? And they've played good basketball, but they've played good basketball at other places for other people in other systems.
How much of it was just not being smart in that 16-2 run when you're up 18?
I need to go watch the film before I can really answer that, but just off the top of my head, some of it was absolutely just ill-advised shots or just lack of communication and getting matched up defensively. Like we went under a ball screen. We don't ever go under ball screens, and we gave up a 3. So simple stuff like that. They didn't do anything complicated that should make us do what we did. There's no rhyme or reason, to be very honest with you, as to why we did a couple things that we did.
Okay. Can you handle a football analogy?
Sure.
Okay. Your defense, and I know that's a paragon. Could have played defense here or nothing. But the defense right now seems to be, you give up some shots, and they shot pretty well. I mean, Tom's over here 51%, shaking the head. I get that. But the turnovers are awesome. And that's, it's just like in football. You can have a defense that gives up a lot, but they take the ball away a lot. And you can survive with it.
I don't care what sports you're playing. If you get more possessions than the other team, you're going to give yourself a better opportunity to win basketball games, right? But Tom is 100% right. Our 3-point defense, especially in the first half, was not good. But that's largely because we're getting beat off the dribble or we're getting beat on closeouts, and now we've got to come over and help. And now you're helping, and we don't help the helper, and so now they're spraying it out and they're shooting wide open shots. But yeah, I mean, forcing, 19 turnovers? No, I'm sorry, 18 turnovers is fantastic. I think that our level of aggression is good, but now you've got to have some discipline with that, right? And you've got to know that, okay, I'm closing out to this guy who's maybe not a great 3-point shooter, and I know he's going to drive it to his right because we've told you over and over in scouting report, and now you've got to apply it, right? And that's got to be the next step. Just like, again, closing out and finishing games has got to be the next step.
Ask Abu about, violation of team rules, how his team needs it. You can look at his line across. He's a real good contributor in a lot of ways. He said he learned his lesson.
I mean, you're obviously welcome to ask any question you want. I've already answered the question.
Oh, I know, I wasn't here Sunday to hear your first answer on
The
that. but-
answer is a violation of team rules. We handled it within our program, and we're glad to have him back. But whether it's Abu or Steve Lutz or anybody in the program, we have standards that have to be upheld, and we've got to stick to those.
Talk
It's
about
more
how-
than. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, talk about him coming back tonight though, and producing across the scorebook like he did.
Yeah, I mean, he was a handful tonight. Those guys had a hard time. We've got to get him the ball more, to be very frank with you. I mean, I thought that he did a good job sealing. We threw the ball over the top a couple times. We ran a couple plays a couple times, but he kept the ball alive. He rebounded the basketball, and he was a shot in the arm, So we need to have him back for the rest of the year, but I thought tonight he was fantastic.
You've seen Brandon have a lot of good scoring performances. Just kind of what did you like about his offensive game today?
Yeah, I thought Brandon did a good job picking his spots, right? I mean, he drove the basketball only when he had an opportunity, and he shot open threes. And I think that when you're doing those things, or when he's doing those things, he's going to be successful more than not. I was really surprised. He's usually one of our better rebounders, and he didn't have a lot of rebounds tonight. I was really surprised by that. I need him to continue to be more solid on the defensive end. But no, Brandon, I've said that several times to you guys before. He's proved time and time again across Division I basketball that he can score.
With as fast as you guys play, he seems, probably because he's played in this before, he seems a little maybe calmer than the others. Is that something that you'd agree with?
I think he's always kind of been that way. He doesn't usually get too high and too low. If you watch his facial expressions and those sorts of things, he's just always flatline. And that's kind of been the thing with Brandon all along his career. So he's played a lot of basketball, a lot of winning basketball, a lot of winning high-level basketball. So, he shouldn't be awed by anything that we've seen.
You added 2 guys to the 2025 class this week. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw in Ryan and Ragland?
Yeah, obviously, I think that both of those guys are good players. I'm excited to sign a couple high school kids. Hopefully we can get those guys to stick around for a while and continue to build our program and build our culture and have them in the system for a while. And Ryan Crotty's a prolific shooter, but he's not just a one-trick pony. I mean, he can put the ball down on the floor. He can rebound the basketball, and he's going to be a nice fit here because, when he catches the basketball, you have to guard him at 26, 27 feet. He's that good of a shooter. And then Mekhi Ragland, man, he's going to be a good player in time. It's going to take him a little bit of time, and he's got to work at it, and he's going to get in better shape, and he's got to get healthy and all those sorts of things. But he reminds me of a young man that we had at Purdue named Travion Williams, and Travion came in and he really, really worked and got himself into shape. By the end of his career, he was an all Big Ten player, and he's still playing overseas, making a lot of money. So I'm excited about both of them. Obviously, we're still in the hunt for others, and we'll see what happens here later this week.
Was it easier when you were sort of recruiting those guys and identifying them? Was it, obviously with this group that you had to bring in, you kind of had a lot of unknowns you kind of had to plug in. Was it easier to kind of identify what you were looking for with these 2 guys?
No, I mean, you're always looking for skill and you're always looking for size. The hardest things usually to get are point guards and big guys, and then guys that can really, really shoot and play. So, no, I mean, we obviously worked hard at recruiting the current class, and then as soon as that was over, we flipped to recruiting that next class. And, I'm excited about those guys. Think they're going to be good in time. They're going to be very good for us.
How unique is it to have a guy Mekhi's size that can kind of do some of the things he does? He's got a nice touch, got good feet, and just how unique is that for a guy that was playing in Georgia?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's great he's got great soft hands, and then he's big and wide, and he seals really, really well. But, somebody asked me yesterday what his best skill is, and it might be his passing. I think he can really pass the basketball, and he's going to be able to stretch the floor because he can shoot. He's just going to have to be able to get at the pace of the game. Obviously we play a certain style, but I think that he's got a great future ahead of him. Both of those guys, I'm excited about both.
2 things that have their own challenges. Is it harder to take a high school player and try to get him ready for the collegiate level, or is it harder to take a player out of the transfer portal and he's college ready, but you have to mold him to your system and maybe break some bad habits?
Yeah, I think both pose the same challenge, right? You're still trying to get them to understand the level of play here and how hard you have to play, and with the effort you have to play every single day. I mean, whether you're coming from high school or whether you're coming from the portal, it's different. I mean, we play a certain brand of basketball, and so there's always going to be adjustment. But if you were going to pick between the two, I guess it's probably a little bit harder for a high school kid, just because they're not used to having the same athletes come at them in waves every single possession. There's not as many good players in high school on the teams.
Your thoughts on Charleston now? And
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited about Charleston. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to grow as a team, right? And you're going to play good teams. You're going to be away from home. We have nothing to do other than concentrate on basketball, right? We'll get our studies done and all that kind of stuff. But now you're going into an environment where you don't have that crowd behind you tonight. And you've got to manufacture your own energy among your team. And anytime you go on the road, man, you have an opportunity for your team to grow closer collectively, right? And we've got to use this opportunity, we've got to use this opportunity to do that. So I'm really excited. As much as I love playing in Gallagher, but I'm excited to go play competition outside and also get a little seafood while we're there.